Well, earlier on, I mentioned Olivia Reynolds in the SLICKS Academy class because don't forget, last time out, at round 3 at GYG, she crossed the line in second, but then received a 5-second penalty that took her back to 9th. That was for a front fairing infringement penalty. But if you're not involved in the sport, you might be wondering exactly what that is. So earlier on, I caught up with Danny Sweeney from Argenti Motorsport to help explain. So here we are then, and Danny, you have the front fairing bracket in your hand there, which some of our viewers might not fully understand what role it plays. But so tell us about that.
So yeah, this probably isn't the most, not the most popular thing in karting at the moment, but since they've been brought in, they've definitely made a difference, cleaned up the driving standards massively, and yeah, so I think have created a fairer thing for all the competitors. So for those who aren't sure, there's 2 of these blocks on each nose cone. The bars for the nose cone have to sit here in line with these 2, and then if any of the blocks are dislodged from the bar after the race, then that comes with an automatic 5-second penalty due to the fact that they think contact has been made out on circuit.
And the idea being really obviously that it's trying to stop drivers from bumping into the back of the car in front of them effectively.
Yeah, it's sort of the main aim was to take excessive contact out. And like I say, it's definitely cleaned up driving standards, start of the races especially. You don't sort of get that load in and big crashes like we did before these were introduced.
When you found out that news, tell us how you felt afterwards.
I felt really disappointed and upset because I knew it weren't my fault, but it just happened to me.
Part of racing, that's sometimes in the rules, but do you understand with the front fairing, why that rule is there? Tell us about your understanding of, what that's all about.
I understand so it can be like a fair race and not really aggressive. So you can't just go around bumping people off the track. And I think it's a good thing, but also not a helpful thing. So it can be annoying, but it's just part of racing.
Prior to that, you crossed the line in second place, so you must have come away from that weekend and coming into this weekend feeling quite confident because you're fast.
The Wilton Wednesdays has been helping me a lot. Every Wednesday at Wilton with Argenti, just me. It's got my pace up, definitely.
So the team owner, the team principal is Ron Meadows, and obviously this weekend he's in Baku because the Formula One is at Azerbaijan. So will you be watching the racing this weekend, the Formula One?
If I get time, I'll try to. But yeah, most likely. I like catching up with Formula One because it's interesting to see how we're doing.
I think it's really amazing, Olivia, that one weekend we're watching on the television with Lewis Hamilton and the rest of the Formula One circus, then the next weekend he's here looking after you guys. I think he really does love karting.
Yeah, I got told a story by Ron's wife that when he was around my age that he would just go to Silverstone to look at the F1 cars and F4, F3. So that's kind of cool, I guess. Also, Ron's just it's so amazing that he works for a Mercedes because it can open up opportunities for Argenti drivers. And he gave me a Lewis Hamilton signed hat, which was pretty cool.
That's really cool, isn't it? And I suppose if you look at Ron and the journey he's had, like you say, when he was a kid, he was at Silverstone just watching racing cars and Formula One cars. When you look at him, do you think, wait a minute, if he got all the way to the top of the sport, I could do that?
Yeah, I mean, I have loads of opportunities in life at the moment, but I think 4 wheels is, there's a lot more money in the game than 2 wheels because it's way more popular, I think. But I think I could make it in 4 wheels.
Because you race on 2 wheels as well, don't you?
Yeah. So with 2 wheels, it helped me with my overtakes and because when first round at UKC at Wilton, I had to drop back a position, but then if you cut in and get the apex good, then you can actually pull the move back. So I think motocross helps me a lot with positions and thinking about the track.
Well, the crowds are starting to gather, so let's see how Olivia gets on as we go to the super final then for the SLICKS Academy races featuring that Rotax Micromax engine. Best of luck to Olivia and all of them taking part. Here's Jake Sanson with the grid positions.
Gotta love a bit of Micromax, and here at Rowrah, it should be fever pitch. Katie Donaldson in pole position. She's alongside Jaden Sherwood on the front row from JJ Lowe and James Roberts. Jack Baker and Kevin Kilbasa from Christian Stefanov and Daniel Minto. Rounding out the top 10, it's Tyler O'Neill and the lady we just heard from, Olivia Reynolds, who's going to be fighting her way back up the order once again after a difficult day at the office so far. Adam Turacek and Oliver Warner, Sam Laduyi and Jake Rafferty with Sebastian Lusch rounding out the field. Now obviously rolling start for Micromax, so it'll be when the lights go out, we're racing. Off we go! And a fantastic start. Jaden Sherwood trying to get as far up the field as he can, but it's tricky going into the first couple of corners from the outside of the front row, and he's already down to third position. Perfect start for Katie Donaldson, but she's drifted wide. She's going to cut across. Perfect recovery there from Katie Donaldson as we continue to battle away in position, but she is now in front. In the Ambition Motorsport car, she drifted a little wide out of Iredale's. Can she hold on to it down the straight? Yes, she can. She's been able to hold on to it for the time being. They come into the stewardesses. You can see how tricky and treacherous it is. And there's the proof. It's still a little bit greasy down there. Now, that's one of the Argentis going around at the back of the field there. Couldn't quite make out who it was.
I think there's only 14 carts. Seem to be only 14 carts on the track, Jake, but two of them caught out there at the back of the field.
We'll have to pick them up as we go through, but it's certainly still Donaldson in the lead at the moment. Second place, pushing on, that is JJ Lowe, having made the good start for the Coles Racing team. Sherwood is third, then Roberts. Oh, wait a minute, Dan Minto does not appear to be coming up on the live timing. Not entirely sure what's happened with his transponder, but it doesn't appear to be pinging at the moment.
Yeah, definitely on track, definitely in the race, but that's James Roberts there on the two carts. He's effectively the championship leader coming into the round, and the way things have gone today so far should be the championship leader going out of the round.
Oh, they're coming from a long way back to get past Sherwood. Brilliant move from James Roberts. That took so much bravery and confidence, knowing that the car was going to turn in from so far back. That was amazing from James Roberts. Just decided enough of this. I'm not waiting around. I'm getting stuck in. And that was a lovely overtake into third place. And it looks like Tyler O'Neill now fancies his chances of getting past Sherwood as well.
Look at this. Katie Donaldson here with a nice lead, Jake, for Ambition Motorsport. Paul Jane's outfit has come into UKC this year, I should say. And we will be catching up actually with Paul next time to ask about all the drivers in his team and why he's come back to UKC. But Kevin Kilbasa sets the fastest lap, and Katie Donaldson though with a comfortable lead. That's another place made up.
Yeah, that's O'Neill diving in on Sherwood. He almost tangled in with James Roberts at the way they run through McRae's, and now they're coming up to the stewardesses. This time O'Neill is going to dive in, and behind them both, that was Stefanov, I think, just charging on the inside line.
6 of them trying to go through the stewardesses at the same time, almost side by side.
Look, the rain is coming down. You can see it on James Roberts' camera, and they're all on slicks. So this has now become a race of bravery and courage. Up the inside comes Olivia Reynolds. Beautiful move as she gets past Christian Stefanov. There's a warning flag gone out. That's for the 28 cart. That is for Dan Minto. So even though Minto's not coming up on the timing screen, he's certainly making friends out there, and the officials have clearly seen it. A couple of drivers trying to make some moves in the drizzling part of the race, so this could be a couple of moves. Olivia Reynolds trying to get herself up into the top 5 at a critical phase, and she's done it. Plenty more moves to come.
The rain seemed to have stopped. We're on board here with James Roberts, but the man with the news on the weather is Kev Harris. Kev.
The rain is falling once again here at Rowrah, and on these slick tyres, these kids are really going to have to learn their trade to try and nurse their carts through to the finish. A long way to run, and the rain has started to fall.
This is where you earn your crust of bread in British karting, and you're always going to have a bit of an issue. Look, several differentiations, different opinions of where to put the cart. Sometimes it's changing by the corner, never mind by the lap. So here they come, Donaldson, Lowe, O'Neill, Roberts, Reynolds. They're going to start sliding sideways as they go through, and that's Reynolds. Reynolds has lost it. Oh, what a shame for Olivia Reynolds. She was making massive progress. All it takes is just a tiny wheel on the inside curb, and it just washes the cart out. Meanwhile, we're back on board with Roberts, trying to get his way back past Tyler O'Neill up to Iredale's. O'Neill drifts wide. Roberts is going to get alongside, and now it's a drag race to the braking zone. Nothing to choose between these two. You can put half a piece of paper. As now, Roberts hopes he can turn the kart in. O'Neill drifts too far wide.
Couple of wheels on the bark chippings. Oh, Jaden Sherwood's off for Ambition Motorsport, and Kilbasser's spun as well. It's all kicking off now, and the rain obviously is getting heavier. Here's a replay. Olivia Reynolds, all her own work, unfortunately.
She was very lucky that she didn't get tagged there by Jaden Sherwood. Sherwood had to take avoiding action. Back up on the inside. Here comes the move from Dan Minto, and O'Neill spins. Oh, O'Neill just loses the back end of the kart. No contact at all between the drivers there. Dan Minto just had the inside line, and it's getting heavier. You can see it on the camera up at the chicane as the back end steps out there for Jack Baker. He tiptoes his way through. Look at JJ Lowe, P2, just by keeping it on the black stuff. He's not pushing the kart any more than he has to, and he could get a win here. This is for the lead. Donaldson, Lowe and Roberts are using a much wider trajectory in these wet conditions as you use a lot more of the racetrack in the rain. So now Roberts is going to try and get his move on JJ Lowe. You don't need to rush this, James. On the inside, Donaldson loses it! Oh no! Katie Donaldson from the lead is in the bark chippings.
What an absolute sickener for Katie Donaldson. She will be beside herself. The 360 camera will capture her.
Katie,
my goodness.
Well,
the 360 camera in this situation captures all the emotion from the driver. She is gutted.
Look, it's a minefield, and it's easily a mistake that's made. But look, the marshal helping her get into position again.
Yeah, and she was running around, and the marshal was making sure that she knew, I've not run down all the way down here to push your car out for you to have a stop. Get back in and drive it off. That's what the marshal was saying. Championship leader is now the new race leader. But we know what they say. You can see now, watch the line. He's taken a wider line.
Whoa!
That's Gruffity.
Yeah.
Gruffity spins out this time. So how many karts have spun out so far? It's got to be at least half the field, you would think.
Well, I think only one driver hasn't actually run off the road yet, and that is James Roberts. Everybody else has had a moment or two over a curb. Goodness me, well, that was well held by Katie Donaldson that time. But Roberts pulling clear, 3 seconds clear.
Championship leader is loving it right now. He knows he's just got to keep it on. And with Donaldson going off, I mean, all right, we had lots of other drivers, probably 4 or 5 go off before her. But of course, when she's the one that's leading, if you're the one leading a race, you get to the corner first. As it gets heavier and heavier rain, you get to the corner first, and what might have been the right line and the right sort of pace the lap before, as the rain's coming down, a lap later, all of a sudden, conditions change, and the race leader got caught out, and that is a sickener for Donaldson. We always say the same thing as... is that Gruffity running wide
It
again?
is, yeah, it is. And Kevin Kilbasser's managed to overtake him earlier in the lap, but Jake Gruffity is there. So that's Kilbasser actually in 8th place now in front of Gruffity.
Yeah, we were saying about Donaldson, we always say the same thing, and it sounds a bit trite, really. This won't mean anything to Katie Donaldson, possibly, but you've got to take the positives out of the weekend. And Katie Donaldson, a bit like Olivia Reynolds last time, has shown her true pace today. Unfortunately, she's come a little bit unstuck, but shown her quality.
Well, Jack Baker, unfortunately, has come off the road somewhere. Well, we got a bit confused as to positions. I was right, Kilbasser is in 9th place because, of course, Dan Minto is missing from the timing screens. He's running in 2nd place through all of this, so he's actually now in front of JJ Lowe. Then it's Tyler O'Neill in 4th from Stefanov. Reynolds, who is now in P7. You've got O'Neill, Warner, Stefanov, Reynolds, then Ladii. Kilbasser is 9th. Gruffity is 10th. You've got to take into account that Dan Minto's name is missing from that timing screen, but he is in P2 ahead of JJ Lowe.
Yeah, and that's what's causing the confusion for the graphics man, I think, as well, trying to work out where people are. And I can't work out why Minto's name does not appear on the timing at all. Yet he appeared in the grid position.
There must be something to do with the transponder cutting out, but at least the rain has now stopped. But
you
there's
can
still
that. Well, you can tell that, Jake. Look at the pace he's got through the turn now, Roberts.
Yeah, he's got more confidence,
much quicker,
much more confidence now through the apexes. But those couple of laps where it started to cause an issue, look at the people on the sidelines there. The rest of the team willing on Dan Minto to try and catch up to James Roberts. Now the rain stopped. You can go for it, mate. Go on, go get him. but it's these laps where we've had a bit of drizzle in the changing conditions. It'll be those days where they've been out on the rental karts in slick conditions, getting to learn racetracks in very, very tricky, changeable weather. Those days are proving to be invaluable here at Rowrah. As we watch Adam Turacek try and close his way down towards the top 10. He's obviously got a bit of ground to make up. It's Jaden Sherwood in front, but not that far in front, so anything can still happen.
You can see the pace through the chicane here, Jake, can't you? The way it's increased in the last several minutes in terms of the track drying out. Here is the race leader, James Roberts, championship leader too, and he'll be extending his championship lead. I think he had something like must have been a 20-point lead, if I remember rightly, from the previous round. It's going to be bigger now, maybe 30 points or so.
Now this is a driver I'm particularly impressed with coming through. The 23, battling away Oliver Warner, doing a very good job there in 5th position in front of Christian Stepanov. So they're behind Tyler O'Neill, who has just set the new fastest lap of the race, by the way. So making good progress. It's currently Roberts, Minto, Lowe, O'Neill, and into the barriers. Oh, that's so unfortunate for Kevin Kilbasa. Just drifted slightly wide. Now, he might be able to get the kart moving again, but obviously it's taken a hit on at least 2/3 of the exit of the barriers there, so hopefully he might be able to get going again, but he's actually decided to bail out of it, so it's all done for Kevin Kilbasa, but fair play, he gets away from the scene pretty quick.
I'll tell you what, he's only just pulled that away before James Roberts, the race leader, went past, and the starter only just managed to pick up the last lap.
That's Tyler O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill just gone into 3rd place there, past JJ Lowe going into turn 1. So O'Neill has literally just managed to scythe his way through past JJ Lowe going into the final lap. Talk about timing.
Yeah, massive gap. He's closed as well on JJ Lowe. JJ maybe being a little bit conservative after the earlier conditions.
And fair play to Olivia Reynolds. We saw her spin off over the curbs earlier on, but she didn't fret. She got back going again, and she's going to come home in the top 10 ahead of a lot of other drivers who have struggled similarly in the conditions. So amazing work from Olivia Reynolds to get herself back into the points, into the top 10. She really has read the situation well. But James Roberts, despite it being a little bit more hairy than other occasions, he got the job done. He knows he's got the job done. That'll do. James Roberts gets the win in front of Dan Minto, and well done to Tyler O'Neill. 3rd place, he snatches that from JJ Lowe as round the final couple of corners. Warner is just going to hold off Stepanov, and that's a personal victory to him. Great work from Warner to bag a top 5 finish in the Ultimate Karting Championship. Credit to Olivia Reynolds, she got going again, and she brought it home in fight style. So there we go, James Roberts in front of Dan Minto and Tyler O'Neill, who both made up 6 places, but Oliver Warner made up the most, 7 as he finishes 5th behind JJ Lowe. Stepanov ahead of Reynolds, who recovered well. Ludiyi, Sherwood and Jake Rafferty, despite his troubles, brought it back into the top 10.
Really had everything, didn't it, for those Sodi Micromax drivers there. The rain falling, just encouraging them to learn to use their slick tyres on what was a wet track. And then towards the end, it became a drying track. It was all going on. Katie Donaldson was out in front for a lot of it, but then she went by the wayside somewhere in the latter stages of that one. In the finish, young James Roberts, kart number 2, took the win. Well done to him, and full credit as well to Tyler O'Neill with the fastest lap time there of a 52.94. Let's go and catch up with them all at the podium.
Daniel, couple of wins in super finals at the last couple of rounds. 2nd today, but how did the rain affect you when that came?
Good. I'm good in the wet, so I mean...
But on slicks though?
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of practice slicks in the rain?
Not really.
Okay, but it
Used
paid
to.
off for you, I guess, in the end anyway. 2nd place, so decent result for you. Who do you want to thank?
Hunter Motorsport, Kai, Eddie and Matthew.
Okay, well done.
Thank you.
James, comfortable win for you in the end, but early rain came when you were all on slicks. Do you do a lot of practice on slicks in the rain?
Well, yeah, to be honest, I think all the times my dad said, just put me out on track, and said just get on with it and put me out on the rain with slicks on, has finally paid off.
And yeah, exactly. It does pay off when you get a day like this, and what a fantastic result for you. Who do you want to thank?
I'd like to thank my dad, always on the car, getting the setup bang on. And Mum, back home, as always giving support. Everyone in the Sodion here this weekend, Mark, Bradley and Emma.
Okay, well done.
Thank you.
Good stuff from James Roberts. He continues to lead the championship. His advantage is now 32 points to Dan Minto. But check out the battle behind. Sherwood in third, Donaldson in fourth, Stefanov, O'Neill and JJ Lowe all covered by a handful of points, with Oliver Warner, Kevin Kilbasa and Adam Turacek all still in the game with races to go this year.
So that's it for our first instalment of action from Rowrah. And once again, the track that sits in the heart of the Cumbrian countryside really did prove to be the perfect backdrop for some great racing. Join us in programme 2 when we'll be bringing you all of the action from the 3 remaining super finals for Minimax, Junior Road Tax and Senior Road Tax. But until then, from myself, Kev Harris, and all the UKC team here in Cumbria, see ya.